It seems like there is nothing left in mainstream culture that can escape the myopic and ignorant attack of progressivism. Today's topic is the extent to which the ghost of paranoid and censured 1950 Senator Joseph McCarthy has virulently affected the progressive left and their all-out assault on the arts. The very same paranoia, now from a different point on the ideological spectrum, the left, that McCarthy conducted over 70 years ago against communism. We have all heard about these recent attacks on children's books, as well as movies and just about anything else that has been written, spoken, or sung. Heck, the left has even tried to cancel Dr. Seuss and reimagine just about every single Walt Disney movie, all the way back to Snow White. Now back to the comparison of the progressive left to references of the worst excesses of McCarthyism and the far right. During this view, I will quote extensively from an article by Peter Tonguette in the Washington Examiner, in an article entitled "The Paranoid Style in Liberal Criticism." Tonguette writes, I quote, "This conviction that paranoia is the exclusive provenance of the right remains such an article of faith among the left that the evils of old-school McCarthyism were routinely trotted out well into the 21st century. Yet, in one of those strange ironies of history, it is the left that today walks in fear of at least half the population. Like their anti-communist forebears, the current left paranoids are wild-eyed, certain of their own rightness, and far too voracious in their pursuit of alleged evidence of extremism." End quote. Tonguette gives several examples of progressive extremism. The first is a movie, Sound of Freedom, which had tremendous box office success, north of $200 million, even though it competed amid the summer movie season dominated by Barbie dolls and atomic bombs. The movie dealt with a story starring Jim Caviezel as a Department of Homeland Security agent, whose mandate includes pursuing sex traffickers who target children. Caviezel's character is frustrated by red tape and sets up operation in South America, not only to bring the traffickers to justice, but also to free all the children who have already been kidnapped or tricked into sex trafficking rings. The movie is bereft of moral gray areas and does not stray from its central issue of liberating exploited children. It's impossible not to cheer on Caviezel as he destroys the bad guys and reunites parents with their children. This had been the kind of movie that Hollywood normally celebrates, as it had obviously resonated with millions of moviegoers who bought tickets. However, in the midst of our current culture wars, this was not the case. I'm quoting Tonguette again. Quote, "Generally speaking, when a movie becomes a sleeper hit, Hollywood reacts by trying to ape its success. But in this case, the industry has tried to explain away its popularity. Perniciously, many commentators have claimed that the movie is kind of a vessel for some vaguely defined QAnon ideology. The warning has been sounded by all the usual suspects. Quote, QAnon supporters are promoting Sound of Freedom, end quote. Or the Nations, who quoted, Sound of Freedom is a QAnon fever dream. Rolling Stones, Sound of Freedom, box office triumph for QAnon believers. As far as I can see, though, the movie itself has nothing to do with QAnon, Al-Anon, or the anonymous author of the Clinton-era satirical novel Primary Colors, or the artist formerly known as Prince. Ironically, Sound of Freedom obviously belongs to the honorable, if rather tedious, tradition of do-gooder message movie. Traditionally, a liberal genre exemplified by such pictures as The Defiant Ones, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, The Day After, and Philadelphia. Like those sanctimonious films, Sound of Freedom is more a work of propaganda than art, but its makers erred in choosing a cause that has lost favor with the left. Child trafficking is no joke, but to our cultural commissars, to care about the subject makes one a stooge of the MAGA movement, end quote. Wow. The progressive left could make McCarthy look sympathetic. I will now turn to music. The second example concerns a music video from Jason Aldean entitled Try that in a small town. A song that weighs in against abhorrent acts, such as carjacking old ladies, robbing liquor stores, and screaming profanities at police officers. It's hard to argue with the song's theme that small-town ethos would inveigh against such bad behavior. I will now quote Tonguette again. Begin quote. Yet, because Aldean's music video illustrated the lyrics by incorporating footage of real crimes, including flag burning, civilian harassment of police, and general rioting, it was said to have been irredeemably racist. CMT said so long to the video. Even its filming location was deemed problematic. Nearly a century ago, a lynching had taken place at the same courthouse in Columbia, Tennessee, where Aldean's video was filmed. But it does not occur to the paranoid mindset that Aldean was not responsible for securing the location. By their reckoning, the only explanation can be that he has hate in his heart. The notion that Aldean merely objects to civil disorder and that the courthouse was chosen for its aesthetic value is dismissed, ignored, skipped past as an inconvenient truth, or at least a plausible one. End quote. Tonguette theorizes that the paranoids on the left have gone beyond trying to cancel or vilify anything that could possibly produce a trigger warning, as Hollywood has begun to eat its own. They are even trying to cancel one of the nation's best stand-up comics, Dave Chappelle, who was African American, for his send-ups on cancel culture or expressing empathy for voters from his home state of Ohio who support Trump, or daring to touch transgender-related material. Actually, Chappelle is merely funny, edgy, provocative, and outrageous, as Richard Pryor and Lenny Bruce were before him. I will now end with another direct quote from Tonguette. Begin quote. According to the paranoid style and liberal criticism, however, nothing is ever what it seems. A movie about child trafficking can't be just that. A song rallying behind small-town values has to have some covert meaning. A comedian who speaks the unspeakable must be working for the other side. This is a new breed of McCarthyism, arguably worse than the original, because McCarthy was discredited in his own time. But the current wave of paranoid delusion is being practiced right out in the open. The idea that movies, songs, and comedians who appeal to millions harbor secret agendas is preposterous. End quote. There you have it.